Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Brought to you by OFN News. Here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across the country. Emanating from our studios in Baltimore and Atlanta. The show is fun, show is upbeat, but I also want to expose what is really happening in this country. Radio on Fire is Black voices giving you the American story. New episodes of the program drop weekdays, 8 a.m. But I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts in addition to the 8 a.m. program. We drop content throughout the day as news happens. So hit that notification bell so you get an alert whenever we go live. Happy Monday to everybody. So, a lot to talk about, a lot to get into today. Diamond K in the morning. Good morning. Did I say that already? Good morning. So what kind of weekend did you have, everybody? I mean, my weekend was good. For the most part, it was good. Unfortunately, sadly, hip-hop has been experiencing a lot of loss over the weekend as the world continues to mourn the loss of rapper DMX, Earl Simmons. He was laid to rest in a private ceremony. There was also a memorial in New York at the Barclays Center. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that. Also, that was over the weekend. Also, something that it definitely needs to be discussed. We get one verdict, and then 6 police killings across America in 24 hours. Derek Chauvin found guilty on all 3 charges. We know this. He's going to be sentenced in June. We know this. But as I said, this one verdict, 6 police killings in 24 hours. We have a lot more work to do. We're going to talk about that, go in depth about that. Johnson & Johnson, the J&J vaccine that many people have been excited about because it's a one-shot deal. They have given the green light for it to be used again. I'm going to talk about that. Talk about my feelings on that. Yeah, I got some feelings on that. I've spoken many times about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And my mistrust of Johnson & Johnson as a company. For those that care, the Oscars happened last night. But there was some history made with regards to the Oscars. I like to look at what folks are wearing. That's pretty cool to see that. Watch the reaction on Twitter to the different outfits and the red carpet stuff. I've never walked the red carpet, but I've covered red carpet events, and it's always nice. It's just it's festive. It's all good. Just tune in at Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. And weekdays I am here, but of course, however you're hearing or seeing me, you can subscribe and check out the program. Check out past episodes of the program. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Facebook, IGTV, youtube.com/djdiamondk. And of course, that DJ in me A lot of folks get it twisted because I have a music background. Started as a rapper, became a DJ and a producer, then a radio personality. That's been my road to where we are now. Politics and American history, these subjects nearest and dearest to my heart. And that's how you get Diamond K in the morning. That's how you get that mix. Because folks that have seen me in the music element in nightclubs or checked out my music, some of these digital outlets, Apple Music, Spotify, etc. So they may get it twisted sometimes. But as far as Baltimore club music, I am one of the pioneers. Did not create it, but I definitely have made my mark in Baltimore club music. And I'm not done yet. So a lot of times people get confused. Wait, how's he talking about politics? How's he talking about the things that he's talking about? Why isn't he only talking about Cardi B and Nicki Minaj? Talk about that too. But I believe that you should be well-rounded and be able to speak on a lot of different things. That's how we get that. And we're not only one thing. RadioFire.com, OFN News. So Radio on Fire is now part of the OFN News network. So you're going to hear more about that in the days and weeks to come. But yeah, so getting back to this verdict, I was happy to hear the verdict that we got in the Chauvin trial. 10 hours of deliberation. They got it right. As far as I'm concerned, they got it right. I was speaking with an officer, a Baltimore police officer, talking about qualified immunity. And of course, the officer had a different perspective on qualified immunity, did not relate it directly to any incident, but thought that qualified immunity, the loss of qualified immunity, was a deal breaker for him to be a police officer because he did not want to be personally liable for actions that he took while doing his job. So they were looking at it from different perspectives. And the average citizen is looking at it from the perspective of an officer killing an unarmed person. And the fact that officers can hide behind the qualified immunity. Qualified immunity was not something that was always there. Qualified immunity coming 82, something like that. Prior to that, there was not qualified immunity. Why did they need qualified immunity to do their job better? A lot of officers want to hide behind qualified immunity. Very simple. You know what it is? Immunity. Immune means it's not gonna affect them. It's not gonna be a factor in what they're doing. They're not gonna be held accountable. So the Derek Chauvin case is very fresh in our minds, in our memories. The reading of the verdict in the Minneapolis, Minnesota courtroom. The piece of crap Derek Chauvin being cuffed. I was happy to see that. And as we got justice in this case, a lot of times people get confused. You see, you can't get justice because you cannot bring the person back. Bringing the person back is not justice. Justice is justice in the case. Bringing it back is bringing it back. We can't bring the person back. And that is not the definition of justice. Justice was received in this instance. Now, while justice was received, the proper verdict was reached. Blood was still spilling in American streets. Now, some people are going to say, police are not the only people killing black people. There are more black folks, regular citizens killing black people than officers. We deal with everything individually. While that is true, it's not what I'm talking about right now. And that's not an excuse for so-called officers of the law in their split-second decisions to make these wrong decisions. And even then, even after the verdict, a lot of the blood, some of the blood that was shed on these American streets were done at the hands of law enforcement. 16-year-old girl in Columbus, Ohio. An often arrested man in California, 42-year-old man in North Carolina. The deaths in some of these cases have sparked, renewed, injected new cries for justice. There's an urgent need for radical change in American policing. There's an urgent need. The Chauvin verdict alone can't remedy all of this. These shootings are a tragic reminder of the dangerous, difficult decisions that officers of the law face daily. My question is, are these officers really prepared? An unidentified man killed San Antonio. Another man killed the same day within hours of the first. 31-year-old man in central Massachusetts. Circumstances surrounding these deaths vary widely. Some happened while the officers investigated serious crimes. Police say that some of the people were armed with a gun, a knife, or metal pole. One man claimed to have a bomb that he threatened to detonate. In several cases, little is known about the lives of those killed and what happened in their final moments. Now, these deadly encounters are only a fraction, just a small snapshot of thousands of interactions between police officers and American citizens. Most of the time, these interactions end safely. Uneventful encounters between police and citizens are not the issue, really. Now, when a weapon is drawn and a life is ended, those are the situations that we're talking about. And American police officers seem to be, in many of these instances, so scared. It's like they're scared of their own shadow. Oh, I'm fear. I'm so scared of this black man. I'm so scared. And they're jumpy and they're scared and they're nervous. You're the person in authority. You're the person with the weapon. Why are they so scared? Most of the people in the black community that are participating in crime and the criminal element usually doesn't want to harm a police officer. The amount of heat that would bring, most of the time, they're not even trying to do that. Now, if they're trying to get away, they may try to get away. But, there are instances, you got exceptions and all that. But I'm just saying, if you, as a police officer, are coming to a situation in fear, right? So they're in fear of unarmed black people. Yet Kyle Rittenhouse has a weapon. They're not scared of that. All of the insurrectionists came to the Capitol. They weren't scared then. They're scared of unarmed black people that could be running in the opposite direction. And all types of things. Qualified immunity. Qualified immunity. When the police are called to someone's house, they're going there in fear, nervous, shaky, like a cat that's cornered. Very weird. When people say that Black Lives Matter, what they're talking about, we can talk about Black Lives Matter controversy with the national organization another day. But when they say Black Lives Matter, they're saying the way that you are acting, the flippant way that you're ending a black person's life, does not reflect the value of that life. That life mattered. Why did you do that? That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So police had been called to the house. They reported that they were being physically threatened. The body camera footage shows an officer approaching a group of people in the driveway. Teenager swinging a knife wildly. Moments later, the girl charges at a young woman, pinning her against a car. I just wish the officer had shot in the air, maybe discharged the weapon once as opposed to so many times. There's so many different things. But I told you that I spoke with an officer. And I asked the officer, Baltimore City officer, I asked him about this case specifically from Columbus, Ohio. And I asked him, are officers trained to reduce a threat? Do you have levels where this is something that's the proper response for this situation, and this is something that's a proper response for this situation? Or is it just one reaction? Is it just to eliminate a threat? And the officer told me that they are taught to eliminate the threat. Not reduce the threat, to eliminate the threat. So the officer fired 4 shots before this teenager, this little girl, young girl, slumped to the ground, had a steak knife, some type of a kitchen knife. Some people in the scene said that he did not have to shoot her. She was just a kid. The officer responded, she had a knife. She just went at her. So I guess that the girl he was trying to save, I guess that Black Lives mattered. Is that what he's saying? But the other girl did. I mean, if this had been a college party or some white high school kids, he wouldn't have did that. If that had been a young white 16-year-old with a knife on another white girl, he would not have shot the girl 4 times. Come on. The young girl was in foster care. Said that she was a shy, quiet girl who liked making hair and dance videos on TikTok. Her grandmother told the Associated Press. Her family says that her actions that day were out of character. Grandmother said, I don't know what happened there unless she was in fear for her life. So officials have said that Bryant's death was a tragedy. They point to laws allowing police to use deadly force to protect themselves and others. So it is up to the police officer for their discretion as to whether they want to kill a black person and let the white person live, because that's what happens all the time. The National Fraternal Order of Police said that the officer was a hero, and then he tried to victimize the officer at the same time, saying it's yet another demonstration of the impossible situations police face. Oh, feel sorry for us, please. Oh, please feel sorry for us. Diamond K in the morning on radioonfire.com. Still unpacking this. Diamond K in the morning is available in the WRF Radio app. Simply download WRF Radio. Leave me a comment. Scroll your timeline. Attend a Zoom meeting on mute. Do some online shopping. Send an email, all while listening to Diamond K in the morning. Weekday lineup over at WRF Radio. Definitely encourage you. Check them out. Listen what they got going on over there. DJ Cornbread does the midday mix. Beautiful Morgan Brittany hosts the top 10 at 10 countdown. But there's a whole lineup of shows, so check them out, including Diamond K in the morning, weekdays. Of course, you can get breaking news, adult conversations, covering topics that are important to the black culture. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcast and TV programs. And Radio on Fire is now part of the OFN News Network. Excited about that. So, at the same time, the Chauvin verdict was being delivered. Same time. Two officers in San Antonio were confronting a man on a bus. Exactly how this situation got started, not clear. Police say that the unidentified man was armed. That's what they say. However, this ended in tragedy with officers firing fatal shots. Over and over and over and over again, we're seeing this. Later that evening in the same city, authorities say a man killed a person working in a shed outside of his home. Officers come to the scene. The suspect, they say, started shooting at the police. They returned fire and killed him. Officials have not yet released his name. So we're going to continue to follow that. In war Worcester, Massachusetts. The night ended with a standoff. There was gunfire. Someone called 911, claimed to have a bomb. He threatened to set off. Police said officers found him on the street. They said that he was wearing body armor, had a backpack, and what appeared to be a rifle. Was it like the rifle that Kyle Rittenhouse had in Kenosha? Because they weren't scared of the rifle in Kenosha. But in Massachusetts, I guess they're scared of the rifle. So SWAT team joins, negotiators join. One reached the guy by phone, tried to calm him down. Around midnight, they say that he moved toward the police and they opened fire. So he was dead on the scene. Police have not said whether he actually had an explosive device. I'd like to see the body camera footage. He had several run-ins with police officers, including a conviction for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Of course, family members saying that he turned his life around. She told that to the Telegram Gazette. I don't know whether that's true or not. Whether he turned his life around. I don't know whether that is true. So anyway, there's more. I mean, I really need to see the body camera footage. And here's why I say that. The first statements that police put out there about the George Floyd killing were incorrect, were lies. He had some kind of medical incident and just that. No. There was an officer who murdered him. Had that video footage in the Chauvin case not been filmed independently, the police could have twisted and continue to twist it and lie about the death of George Floyd. So when they say that this guy did these things in Massachusetts, I need to see the body camera footage. The next morning, as people in Minneapolis got up to a city boarded up for unrest that never happened, 42-year-old black man in North Carolina was shot and killed when a deputy sheriff's tried to serve drug-related search warrant and an arrest warrant. Eyewitnesses said that Andrew Brown Jr. was shot dead in his car in Elizabeth City as he tried to drive away. Was that necessary? Were the officers in fear for their lives? So, a car authorities removed from the scene appeared to have multiple bullet holes and a shattered back window. This is what policing looks like in America. There has been an outcry for the release of body camera footage. 7 deputies have been placed on leave. 7. Family and friends remember Andrew Brown Jr. as a father with a sense of humor. He also said he had a difficult life. His mother was killed when he was young. He was partially paralyzed on his right side by an accidental shooting. Lost an eye in a stabbing. Definitely had a hard life. Troubles with the law. A drug possession conviction. Some felony drug charges. No angel. The 2 arrest warrants were issued the day before he was killed. According to court records, were for intent to sell cocaine. Officers have not crafted the story as to why they fired. Why did they fire any shots? They haven't crafted that story yet. I'm sure it's coming. The same morning, police in Southern California got a call about someone hitting cars with a metal pole. So you know they gotta go there and kill somebody, right? And so the man ran off when police arrived, but another officer spotted him carrying a 2-foot metal pole. So the white man charged at the officer who ordered him to drop the pole before firing. They haven't released that man's name. But they did want to say that he had been arrested nearly 200 times in the last 20 years for violent assaults on police and the public, drug charges, and other charges. Efforts to get him help for his mental challenges had not worked, the police chief said. Whether any officers will face any charges is up in the air, remains to be seen. We need some strategic partnerships and some profound changes. We are in a moment of reckoning. Moment of reckoning. The national conversation about race, about policing, about the use of force, that is the most paramount thing right now. Florida prosecutor announced last week that he would not pursue charges against the Brevard County Sheriff deputy who shot and killed 2 black teenagers. California prosecutor announced manslaughter and assault charges against a deputy in eastern San Francisco Bay in the shooting of an unarmed Filipino man. But none of these cases has focused attention like the George Floyd trial. I hope that the Chauvin verdict will be the catalyst to continue this national conversation about policing in this country. Time is going to tell. Time is going to tell. Your man Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com, of course. And some things here. A lot of things going on. So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Let's do this. Let's talk about that on the other side. Let's take a quick break. Come back with more of the show. Welcome back. Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com, brought to you by OFN News. So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the shady vaccine, it aims to protect against COVID-19. That's what they say. This is a shot in the muscle of the upper arm. The J&J vaccine was 66.3% effective in clinical trials. That is the efficacy at preventing COVID-19 illness in people who had no evidence of a prior infection 2 weeks after receiving the vaccine. People had the most protection 2 weeks after vaccination. So side effects. According to the CDC, common side effects for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine are in the arm where you got the shot, some pain, some redness, some swelling. That could be normal when getting a vaccine. That part's normal. Throughout the rest of your body, tiredness, headache, muscle pain, chills, fever, nausea, Those effects usually start within a day or two of the vaccine. They might feel like flu symptoms, might even affect your ability to do some daily activities. And it should go away in a few days per the CDC. So if you notice, when I listed some of those side effects, none of those side effects talked about blood clotting, didn't talk about that. Didn't even mention it. However, that is an adverse side effect of the vaccine. But let's keep in mind, this vaccine is approved for emergency use. So we don't even know all the side effects. We don't know the adverse side effects. Nope. The vaccine promised to be a game changer. That's what they said. Game changer for hard to reach communities. This Johnson & Johnson vaccine was really pushed on Black and brown people. Many folks just wanted to get one shot. It doesn't have to be stored at the same temperature. 6.8 million people had received it. And, I had concerns. But hey, I'm not a doctor, right? I said this in the beginning, I had concerns. But the doctors couldn't see this. But Diamond K saw this. I've been talking about this ever since the Johnson & Johnson vaccine started to come closer to market. My attention was on this Johnson & Johnson vaccine early. So, Johnson & Johnson vaccine is back. Back like it never left. Younger women should be warned against the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Friday, the vote by the advisory committee to the CDC would be to resume the Johnson & Johnson. There should be an explicit warning against the vaccine's use in women under the age of 50. Based on these clinical trials, I think a lot of the women, participants, knowing what they know now, people, women I'm talking about, should have chosen the Pfizer or the Moderna over the Johnson & Johnson. As our knowledge increases, and this is what I was talking about when I said that things came too quickly, these are some of the things. As we've had more time to observe these things, as our knowledge has changed about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, there have been rare instances of serious blood clotting, a blood clot in a brain cell, I mean, these are serious things. This is not something you can just sweep under the rug. So, on April the 14th, the CDC Advisory Committee decided that it needed more information before reinstating the vaccine. So why? Why did they want that? They wanted to see how many more cases of this clotting disorder would emerge after the public became aware. And they say that these were important steps to preserve public confidence in vaccine safety, in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine safety. So, upon their investigation, they found that nearly 8 million Johnson & Johnson vaccine doses were administered in the United States. There were only 12 confirmed cases of this rare combination of CVST and low platelets. So these blood clots, if you broaden the criteria to include all blood clots, because those 12 just represented blood clots in the brain, but if you include all blood clots, as they should, you see how they do this tricky math. There were 15 cases. So I guess supporters of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine are saying that the 15 number is so low that they think it's fine. The initial 6 cases all occurred in women between the ages of 18 and 49. The new report were also all in women. Of those 15 cases I spoke about, 13 were in women under the age of 50, with a median age of 37. And only 2 women were on oral contraceptives, a known risk factor for blood clots. And there were no other reasons identified as to why these individuals were likely to develop this condition. The only commonalities identified were their age, gender, and recently receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So, let's do the math here. 15 cases out of 8 million is a risk of less than 2 in a million. In women under 50, the risk is about 1 in 80,000. So CDC says that for every 1 million doses of this vaccine given to a under 50 female group, it would prevent 657 hospitalizations and 12 deaths. In women over 50, 1 million doses would prevent 4,794 hospitalizations and 593 deaths, according to the CDC. So it's back. Are you going to take it? How you feeling about How you feeling about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? I'm not taking Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I'll tell you that. So, but of course, you need to do what you need to do. I just like to put it out there. I don't knock anybody for taking the vaccine. I don't knock anybody for not taking the vaccine. You do need to wear your mask, though. We're all on one accord about that. If you want to support Diamond K in the morning, very easy to do that. I'm able to deliver our news and our views because of your support, our listeners, our sponsors, and of course your donations. Diamond K in the morning is powered by the people, and we need your support. Visit radioonfire.com to make a one-time donation, or you can do that via Cash App, cash.app/$DJDiamondK. Cash App $DJDiamondK. On social media, I'm at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. We're going to do this. We're going to take a quick break and come back. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network streaming from our production facilities in Baltimore and Atlanta. We're able to broadcast programs like the Diamond K Show because of our listeners and some amazing partners like D Lifestyle Secrets. Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? Well, more than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as you're continuing to age, the goal is to experience as few aches and pains as possible while staying mobile. DLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that by providing a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching its members to communicate naturally with their bodies. DLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos, natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit DLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers today. And I encourage you to shop with all the companies that support Radio on Fire. Before we get back to the show, have you ever had a NutriBurst liquid vitamin? This stuff tastes great, and they say it's great for you. NutriBurst liquid vitamin. Now, my girl Moochie told me about this, and me and Moochie go way back. She said, Diamond K, you have got to try this. So I asked Moochie, what's so special about NutriBurst liquid vitamin? What makes it so good? Then she gave me the rundown. Check this out. 72 minerals, 10 vitamins, 22 phytonutrients, 19 amino acids, 13 whole vegetables, and 20 herbs. Get your NutriBurst liquid vitamin today at totallifechanges.com/mymoochie. That's totallifechanges.com/mymoochie. Tell them Radio on Fire sent you.
Giving you more talk, more news, and more music. It's Radio on Fire.
This pandemic has really sped up what was already happening. The world has become even more digital. Folks are on their computers, their tablets, their phones, all the time. This is where people go to get their information. Here at Radio on Fire, our target listener is 23 to 54 years old. So business owners, I know times are hard, but I also know how important it is to get in front of your customers. Advertise your business, product, service, or event on Diamond K in the morning or any of the other Radio on Fire programs. We have an affordable package for you. Visit radioonfire.com/advertise to get started. Again, radioonfire.com/advertise. We'd love to connect with you. Welcome back. Welcome back. Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Over the weekend, fans, family, friends paid their final respects to the rapper DMX, aka Earl Simmons, and a very unique celebration of his life. Swizz Beatz, Nas, The Lox, Eve, Drag On, Rough Riders reflected on the passing of DMX. D&Y, his daughter, young daughter, did a rap that was really nice. Swizz Beatz spoke from the heart, talked about a will, the importance of a will. So he didn't need all of you here now. He needed y'all before. DMX passing away at the age of 50. It was definitely different than things that I've seen. Folks said a lot of different things online. And I mean, there's so much you can say. I mean, Kanye West helped with the arrangement. His Sunday choir sang at the funeral service, homegoing celebration. Faith Evans performed. She collaborated with him, DMX. DMX is one of the most iconic artists in hip-hop history. So Saturday, there was the memorial service at the Barclays Center. Sunday was the actual homegoing service. Minister Louis Farrakhan, of course, the Rough Riders, his ex-wife, Tashira Simmons, all spoke. It was at Brooklyn's Christian Cultural Center for this. Many speeches, attendees, folks that were watching home, streaming it live, were treated to some powerful performances. Faith Evans was there virtually. And, so just before Faith Evans and her band began their short set, Faith opened with the story of how I Miss You from DMX 2001, the Great Depression album, how that came together. And Faith said that, I remember the first time I met Earl. He came to my hotel room at 3 a.m. The front desk called me and he took the phone from them like, just tell her it's DMX. And how could I say no to him coming upstairs? It's DMX wanting to talk to me. So it had to be important. And he came upstairs and told me that he wanted to do this song with me, dedicated to his grandmother. As with many others, Faith spoke candidly on how DMX, his faith in God, affected her. She said that after he told me, we prayed together. When I went to the studio to record, we prayed together. At the video shoot, we prayed together. And every time I saw him thereafter, we prayed together. There's a video going around of him praying on the Bad Boy tour. That day, it was my turn to pray. I walked out of my dressing room. I saw X, and he said, Faith, you're an angel in my life because we always pray together. Yeah, so that was a homegoing service that I like, one I've never seen before. Yeah. Rest in peace to DMX. And yeah, it's often said that you want to give folks their flowers while they're here. That's true. That's true. DMX's kids honored their dad at that homegoing celebration. It was good to see Tashira Simmons, his ex-wife. New York State Senate officially declares December the 18th to be Earl DMX Simmons Day. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So again, it's just it's good that he's no longer in pain. Swizbeat, what really stood out to me, Swizbeat said that when DMX was giving us this great art, he was in pain. All of the highlights that we saw in his life, he said that he was in pain. And I am glad that he's no longer in pain. Rest in peace, rest in power to DMX, the great DMX, great rapper. So December 18th will be Earl DMX Simmons Day. Resolution introduced on the New York State Senate floor by the Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire, Diamond K in the morning. Weekdays, 8 a.m. We rebroadcast throughout the day. You can catch any past episodes, radioonfire.com, or wherever you're hearing this broadcast. Anywhere you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. You can check out Diamond K in the morning, iHeartRadio, WRF Radio, OFN News, bringing you Diamond K in the morning. Radio on Fire is Black Voices, giving you the American story. It's a very complicated story. Definitely a complicated story. You know how to say something's complicated? Yes, it's a complicated story. Well, as always, I've enjoyed speaking with each and every one of you. And I will be back. Any news breaks today, we'll be back. If not, check me out tomorrow, 8 a.m., right here, Diamond K in the morning.